Welcome back to the channel, Warhammer Man back in the studio, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Season of War Thondia, some of the new rules to come. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, and warcry content as well. Let's take a look. The drums of war beat louder and louder in the realm of beasts, as Season of War Thondia draws ever closer. This savage tome is swarming with detailed lore and maps for the Alpha continent of Thondia, where everything is predator or prey, even magic. The most alarming discovery in the Krondspine Incarnate, a rampaging vortex of living Ghurish energy that devours endless spells and decimates legions. Season of War Thondia also contains new rules for all styles of play, including an additional Path to Glory battle pack for your narrative campaigns. By claiming victory in one of 6 new narrative battle plans, your army can establish an outpost in an endlessly contested wilds of Thondia. From here, you can press deeper into the primeval wilderness and start the process of growing a huge new settlement. So that's a pretty cool little idea there. The Thondian Strongpoint terrain set is designed precisely to accommodate these aims, and it is filled with enough set dressing to make you feel the bracing heat of Ghur emanating from your tabletop. So here we see the centerpiece is like the new kind of fountain from the Thondia set. Very cool. It's got great detail, has a really nice look to it. Fits very well with the overall look of the terrain, and then also kind of like the building of an outpost in the middle of like a, desecrated land. Pretty cool overall, I do like it. As the Path to Glory armies earns renown in its attempt to carve up Thondia, your warriors can pick up bestial new veteran abilities, such as Savage Instinct, which imbues a unit with feral energy they need to strike first in combat once per battle. The Alpha continent also offers new hunting grounds dominated by mighty beasts, giving you the chance to capture prime monsters, brutes that would have no qualms gnawing on the bones of a Megadroth. If you choose to undertake the formidable task of setting up a distant outpost in Ghur, you can make a prime monster roll when adding a monster to your order of battle. On a 5-up, you have tamed a particularly impressive specimen with a special ability, such as the aptly named Fearsome, which allows the creature to completely ignore its wounds when consulting the damage table once per battle. Okay, so when you add a monster to your order of battle, you roll a die. On a 5-up, you get one of these special abilities, and then here is just an example of one of them, the prime monster ability, Fearsome. This unit can use the prime monster ability once per battle at the start of the combat phase. If it does so until the end of the phase, when you look up the value on the unit's damage table, it is treated as having suffered 0 wounds. So if it has like a degrading profile, it basically gets to fight at full strength, which is pretty cool. It can be very strong depending on what monster and how much it degrades, etc. From your Thondian outposts, your army can also lay claim to fierce new territories, unique to Thondia, each with their own benefits. The Grinding Mountains seek to prey upon the other peaks of Ghur. Conquer them, and you'll be able to mine vast deposits of Realmstone, but risk seeing your other ungraded territories reduced to rubble with each seismic scrap. Whether your army has established a mighty fortress in Ghur, or using a realm gate to scour other lands, true trailblazers have the option to send a unit that wasn't involved in the most recent battle out on a scouting expedition. By rolling on the expedition table, your explorers can scour the tumultuous Thondian wilderness for rampaging beasts, forgotten ruins, or new routes through the waste. These expeditions aren't guaranteed to succeed, but you can seize tasty rewards if your warriors prevail, perhaps unlocking a powerful endless spell from a legendary Stormbolt. So here is the Thondian encounter Stormbolt. Roll a die on a 1 through 4, the scouts are unable to open the Stormbolt, and the expedition is a failure. On a 5+, the scouts are able to open the Stormbolt, and you can add 1 endless spell or invocation available to your faction to your vault. There are a plethora of discoveries only found in the untamed lands of Thondia, even unique quests for finding a Krondspine Incarnate or tracking down a hero hailing from the Ghurs. Yes, you can go on a quest to recruit a custom character of your own design. Forged in the divine heat of the anvil of Apothis, Ghur, you can create anything from a leader for your force to recruit early and use throughout the campaign, to an enormous monster to put a final cap on your force. We'll be covering how the anvil works later. Sorry, that's an error. We will be covering how the anvil works later this week. Stay tuned. The rules in Season of War Thondia will add some extra bite to any Path of Glory campaign. You can even follow the Summons of War battle back to play through the battleground of the book itself, using new battle plans and battalions as you fight over the Strongpoint terrain and embrace the era of the beast. So this is pretty cool, a little setup here. Obviously some custom terrain, but then we see the bones from the new set, and then obviously the Krondspine Incarnate, or however you say it. Pretty neat, definitely a cool little setup there. Definitely sounds pretty cool. Let's take a look at another article here real quick. So the Krondspine Incarnates grow in power as they bash monsters and devour endless spells. So just more of the Season of War Thondia stuff. These primal entities are manifestations of the magical energy of the realm of beasts. And now it's time to look how they'll change your games of Warhammer Age of Sigmar when Season of War Thondia arrives for pre-order this weekend. So here we see the new model. To tell you the truth, I don't know if it's just the angle of this picture or just like the kind of background with everything going on, but this does actually look pretty cool right here. I feel like the paint job would do this model wonders. There's just something about the paint job just not quite right. These raw, Ghurish vibe monsters aren't just grumpy, they're positively raging. A tempest of fangs and claws with a stat line to bellow about. So here we see the weapon stat line. Vicious claws are 1-inch range, 6 attacks, 3+ to hit, 3+ to wound, rend -2, damage 2. And the tearing fangs, range 2, attack 1, 3+ to hit, 2+ to wound, rend -3, damage 4. And then the star for their attacks characteristic is add the incarnate's level to the attacks characteristic. So as it levels up, it gains more attacks. So for the Vicious Claws, it's going to go from 6 to 7 when it levels up, which is good, but it's not amazing. But for the Tearing Fangs, it goes from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, etc. So the Fangs actually get substantially better as they level up, as where the Claws just get slightly better with each level up. Those attacks sport a hefty amount of rend and damage, and they're exceptionally reliable, hitting on 3s and wounding on 3s or 2s. The number of attacks the Krondspine Incarnate can make will change according to how powerful it is. But right off the bat, it starts each game with a fearsome 11 attacks. What am I missing? It says attack 6. Add the Incarnate's level to the attacks. So does it start at level 11 and then go down? It must be, I guess. So yes, Incarnates wax and wane in power throughout the game according to how suffused they are the arcane power. The better they're doing, the more lethal they become, and the harder they are to kill. See, for some reason I was under the impression that it started at level 1 and then leveled up, but the way they're describing it, right off the bat, it starts each game with a fearsome 11 attacks. So they're saying as if it starts at level 5 and then goes down. I was under the impression it was the other way around. It started at 1 and went up. So we'll have to see. Maybe it will talk a little more about it. Incarnates don't even have a wounds characteristic. It's kind of tricky to injure a howling mass of realm energy tethered to an assortment of bones and realmstone. Instead, their power is marked by a series of states running from empowered to abolished. Okay, so state table. For some reason, I thought it was going to say stats, so I just assumed, but it is in fact state. So its state is empowered, level 3, domination range 12, primal, level 2, domination 10, weakened 1, domination range 8, and then abolished 0, domination range dash. The Incarnate starts at primal and will shift up as it devours endless spells and slays monsters, or down if it suffers damage. So it starts at level 2. Yep, that's right. These vortexes of thaumaturgical energy can even turn endless spells into phantasmal prey. If an Incarnate ends up within charge distance of one such wandering spell, it may choose to charge and perform a special monstrous rampage to chow down and increase its level. If it fails, however, its level falls as it weakens from the clash of energies. So it can basically attempt to devour the endless spell to level up, but if it fails, it levels down. So devour endless spell. Pick one endless spell that was summoned by an enemy wizard that is within 3 inches of the incarnate, and roll 2d6. Add the incarnate's level to the roll. If the roll is greater than the casting value of the spell used to summon that endless spell, the endless spell is dispelled and the level of this incarnate increased by 1. On any other roll, the level of the incarnate is reduced by 1. So if it's starting at primal, it's going to be 2d6 plus 2. Potentially it could level right up to 3. Or it can go right down to 1 if you fail it. So, interesting. So how in the world does an army cope with such elemental savagery? A hero with enough willpower can bond with one of these creatures, corralling the bestial intelligence and pointing them at enemy lines. Every faction may wrangle these specters to do their bidding, but there's a cost. If the hero the incarnate has bonded to dies, it reverts to wild form. In that state, it is yet more savage, and in its mindless aggression, it treats all forces, be they friend or foe, or endless spell, as targets to state its bloodlust. So wild form. Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by this incarnate, while it is in its wild form. This incarnate can run and still charge in the same turn while it's in its wild form. If this incarnate is in its wild form and it's within 12 inches of a unit or endless spell at the start of the charge phase, it must attempt to charge and must make a charge move if it is possible to do so. Okay, so that's interesting. So when it's in its wild form, it's basically kind of like rampaging about. Their unpredictable nature makes the incarnates a serious risk, but one with a mighty reward. A general who seeks to bend one of these savage entities to their will must protect the champion who undertook the task or pay the price. That's not all the Krondspine Incarnate can bring to the table. Besides vicious attacks, magic, munching, and unpredictable behavior, this living maelstrom also exudes an aura that can turn even sage warriors savage. These energy waves are so powerful that they even flood Yndrasa with violent emotion and transformed her Stormcast Eternal allies into barely conscious feral brutes. With this all explained in the full season of War Thondia, an upcoming supplement of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, which covers everything you need to know about Krondspine Incarnates and plenty more besides for all 3 ways to play. Then there's the Thondian Strongpoint, which features range of Ghurish terrain, including a titanic skeletal under construction, Dawnbringer Crusade fortifications, and Krondspine Incarnate ready and waiting to tear them. And any warriors foolish enough to trepice through its domain to pieces. Okay, so interesting. I mean, more questions than answers from this. Doesn't give us a ton. Kind of gives us a little hint as to what's going on here. Very cool picture. But basically we just know that this thing is tethered to a hero. If the hero dies, it kind of goes wild and just attacks whatever. It has the ability to kill monsters and level up or devour endless spells. And rather than a wounds characteristic, it basically will degrade based on the state of the creature. So interesting, definitely pretty cool idea. We'll see how it pans out in the end. I do like the new terrain. This is a pretty cool setup right here. Definitely like this. But we'll see how it goes. Probably going to kind of feel this one out a bit and kind of see what the community has to say about this. But I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like and subscribe. If you're new to the channel, all kinds of Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, and warcry content as well. But that's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.